Part 3. How to retrain the brain and break the replay cycle. Opening hook. You tell yourself you'll stop overthinking. This time you won't replay it. And yet, there you are again. Reconstructing the tone. Rewriting the sentence. Reanalyzing their silence. If replay feels automatic, that's because it is. But here's the quiet truth. Automatic doesn't mean permanent. The deeper problem. Replay is not just a bad habit. It's a reinforced neural pathway. Every time you revisit the conversation, you strengthen the circuit. Neurons that fire together wire together. That's Hebb's rule, one of the foundational principles of neuroplasticity. The brain changes based on repetition. If you repeatedly pair conversation right arrow anxiety, right arrow mental review, your brain learns. After social interaction, we ruminate. Not because it's useful, but because it's familiar. And the brain prefers familiar patterns, even uncomfortable ones, over uncertainty. So the real question becomes, how do you teach the brain a new pattern? Reframe, you're not fighting yourself. Before we go into the framework, this matters. You are not trying to silence your mind. You are trying to retrain it. There's a difference. The brain replays conversations because it believes something is unresolved. Neuroplasticity doesn't require force. It requires repetition of a new response. You're not erasing the old circuit. You're building a stronger one beside it. Like carving a new path through grass. At first it's faint. Over time it becomes the default route. The psychological mechanism. Replay involves three major systems. The amygdala, threat detection. The default mode network, self-reflection and simulation. The prefrontal cortex, analysis and correction. When a conversation feels socially uncertain, the amygdala tags it as important. The default mode network replays it. The prefrontal cortex tries to solve it. If no satisfying resolution appears, the loop continues. To break the cycle, you must intervene at one of three levels. 1. The threat signal. 2. The uncertainty. 3. The sense of unfinished learning. That's where this framework comes in. The neuroplasticity framework. 4 principles. Simple. Grounded in cognitive science. Repeated consistently, they rewire the loop. Pattern interrupt, shift state first. Rumination feels cognitive, but it's state dependent. If your nervous system is activated, your thoughts will be sharper and more negative. Before you analyze the replay, regulate the body. Slow inhale. Longer exhale. Extended exhalation stimulates the vagus nerve, which increases parasympathetic activity. In simple terms, it tells your brain the threat is over. This reduces amygdala activation. And when the threat signal drops, the urge to replay weakens. You cannot outthink an activated nervous system. Calm first. Analyze later. Scheduled replay, contain the loop. The brain loops because it wants closure. So give it a container. Set a 5-minute review window. During that time, intentionally replay the conversation. But with structure. Ask 3 questions. 1. What actually happened factually? 2. What am I assuming? 3. What is one useful adjustment for next time? This engages the prefrontal cortex deliberately, instead of letting the default mode network wander. Research on worry scheduling shows that contained rumination reduces intrusive thinking. Why? Because the brain learns. We've handled this. After 5 minutes you stop. Even if it feels incomplete. You are training your mind that review has limits. Cognitive reappraisal, update the prediction. The brain replays because it's uncertain. Uncertainty fuels anxiety. Cognitive reappraisal is the process of deliberately generating alternative interpretations. Instead of, they thought I was awkward. Try, they might have been distracted. They might not even remember. I may be overestimating the impact. Studies show that reappraisal reduces activity in the amygdala and increases regulation from the prefrontal cortex. You are updating the brain's prediction model. Replay weakens when the brain believes. The social outcome is not catastrophic. Memory reconsolidation, change the emotional tag. Here's something powerful. Every time you recall a memory, it briefly becomes malleable. This is called memory reconsolidation. If during recall you pair the memory with calm breathing, self-compassion, a neutral reinterpretation, you change its emotional encoding. The next time the brain retrieves it, the intensity is lower. Instead of replaying the scene with shame, you replay it with understanding. This is not denial. It's retagging. You're telling the nervous system, this is not a threat memory. Over time, the emotional charge fades. And without emotional charge, the loop loses fuel. Identity shift, stop making it about worth. Replay often attaches to identity. If I said something wrong, I am wrong. That's not cognition. That's self-concept. The brain protects identity fiercely. So if you equate social performance with worth, replay becomes existential. The shift is subtle but powerful. Separate behavior from identity. Instead of, I am awkward. Try. That moment was imperfect. Behavior is adjustable. Identity feels permanent. When identity is safe, review becomes lighter. The neuroplastic timeline. Here's the part no one says clearly. This takes repetition. Neuroplastic change requires consistency, not intensity. You won't break the loop once. You'll weaken it gradually. At first, you'll notice the replay halfway through. Later, you'll catch it earlier. Eventually, you'll feel it begin. And it won't fully take hold. That's the new pathway forming. Not dramatic. Just quieter. Integration, the mental model. Think of replay like a well-worn hiking trail. Every time you walk it, the dirt becomes more compact. Harder to leave. You cannot erase the trail overnight. But you can begin walking a different route. At first, the grass resists. The path feels unnatural. But if you walk it daily, the new trail becomes easier. And one day, without effort, you find yourself on the new path automatically. That's neuroplasticity. Not force. Repetition. Quiet, empowering, close. If you replay conversations, it means your brain cares about social survival. It wants connection. It wants belonging. It wants to improve. That instinct is not your enemy. It simply needs guidance. You don't need to silence your mind. You need to retrain it gently. Calm the body. Contain the review. Update the story. Release identity from performance. And repeat. Slowly. The loop softens. Not because you stopped caring, but because your brain finally learned. The moment has passed. You are safe. And there is nothing left to fix.